Okay, so we are on Mem Gimel Amud Aleph. I would like to, actually no, Amar Mar. Smack in the middle of Amid. The first one in line is Yom Tev Harishan Bilvad. Amar Mar. Comes along the Gemara, and Amar Mar always means that we're re-quoting that which was just said. So Amar Mar, Biyoim, this was the Brisa that we ended off with. Biyoim, Vafilu B'Shabbos. And the Brisa taught us that you take the lulav Biyoim, and which includes Shabbos. Why does it include Shabbos? Because the pasuk didn't have to say Biyoim. Could have just said V'lekachtem lochem b'Rishon. Biyoim Rishon teaches you any day, including Shabbos. So from the fact that we need a pasuk to come along and matir of Shabbos, permit Shabbos, says the Gemara, Michti. Let's see, let's figure this out. Tilta ba'almuhu. Now this is really where the Gemara almost goes full circle from the beginning. What's the isser of using your lulav on Shabbos? We just finished saying that how do we know lulav you take midaraisa, pasik? Says Gemara, 1 second. If you need a pasik that seemingly dictates, what's the isser? Says the Gemara, wait, michti, tilta ba'almuhu. All it is tiltal is movement, which is the derabanan. It's derech kara. Do we need a pasik? Limishrei tiltal? Question mark. Do we need a pasik to permit moving an item? It's bizarre. It's a din derabanan. We never would need a pasik to permit a derabanan. Now, there's just a geshmaka Rashi. Look at Rashi. It's derech. It's about 15 lines from the bottom. Rashi says, Itzur kar limishri tiltal derabanan. Adayin loy nesar tiltal ba'olam. There was never an iser muksa. Uba kasav letira kan. We have a time issue. Psukim only could be makel on the araisas. A pasuk can't be makel on a derabanan. It makes no sense. The rabbanan came after the psukim. So how can you tell me you have an iser derabanan moving a lulav, but there's a pasuk that's makel? That's ridiculous. That's completely ridiculous. Why would you need a pasuk to be mekel on a derabanan? That's the Gemara's kasha. So what is the isser again? Galaxy S25, nice to see you. I don't know who you are, but it's wonderful to see you. What is the isser of moving of the lulav that we need a pasuk to matter? So Amar Rava comes along Rava and he says, Loi nitzricha. You know what we need it for? Ella, make it really a plate pashat. Loi nitzricha ella lemachshirei lulav. You only need it for machshirei lulav. Now, what is machshirei lulav? So I'll speak a Rashi outside. Machshirei lulav is, let's say, this is like, world-class lo yitzlach we're about to talk about. Let's say comes Yantif, and you're like, oh, shoot, I don't have a lulav. I don't have a lulav. Oh, great, backyard, my lulav tree. You know what I'm going to do? Givaldik. Let's go cut down the lulav, and I have a lulav. Givaldik. What level of isser would you be over if you go to cut down your lulav? Daraisa. So machshirei lulav means the preparations of the lulav, all the auxiliaries of the lulav, all the other details involved in lulav. So says Rava, you know why you need a pasuk? To permit even machshirei lulav, not just the shaking of the lulav. Shaking of the lulav, that's a derabanan. But the other details involved in lulav are potentially daraisa. So says Rava, that's why you need a pasuk to permit the lulav on Shabbos. Which means what, by the way? Which means the Gemara is sewing in a very unique chiddush. Until this moment, what have we been talking about? From the beginning of the Mishnah. Lulav, arava, shisha, v'shiva. What are we talking about? Shaking the lulav. The whole sugya, the whole Gemara was you're allowed to shake it on day one, you're not allowed to shake it on day one. What's the problem? It's tiltal, it's carrying back and forth and back. Now the Gemara comes along and the Gemara says, oh, you know you need a pasuk? Because there's another part of lulav the machshirei lulav, the auxiliaries, the preparations, the cutting down the lulav, the tying the lulav, everything else. That's a big chiddush. We weren't talking about that till now. But that's what the Gemara now is saying. We need a pasuk to permit taking the lulav on day one. It doesn't only mean to take the lulav. It means also to cut down the lulav. It means also to bind together the daled minim, etc. And because we're now introducing a new chiddush, says the Gemara, aliba. This is all part of the teretz, basically, and according the Haitana, the following Tana. We're going to read a few lines. It's going to be a little unclear, and then we'll circle back around, and hopefully we'll have clarity. Says the Gemara, this teretz of Rava only fits according to the following Tana. The Tana you learned in a Raisa, lulav, v'chol machshirav, lulav and all its preparations. What are the machshirav? What are the preparations? The cutting down the lulav, the binding the lulav, and everything else. Says the Braisa, doichin es ha-Shabbos, push away Shabbos. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer holds, not only is day one the taking the lulav deicha Shabbos, but every part of lulav is deicha Shabbos. My time of Rabbi Eliezer. Where did Rabbi Eliezer get this from? This should hopefully sound familiar. Amar Kra. This is our drasha. Biyoim va'afilu b'Shabbos, and even on Shabbos. So the teretz of the Gemara. Let's just put it all in perspective. We're trying to figure out that you take the lulav on 7 days in the Beis Hamikdash. Why do you take 7 days in the Beis Hamikdash? The final teretz that we concluded with was what? Because it's a deraisa outside the Beis Hamikdash. Because it's deraisa outside of the Beis Hamikdash. Therefore, the chashivos of lulav is so chashiv that we take it even on day one. Why don't we even do it b'zman hazeh? Says the Gemara, we do it b'zman hazeh. Okay, we're gonna have to come back to that. Givaldik, you take the lulav day one. Where do we know it from? A pasuk. V'lakachtem lechem b'yoyim harishon. B'yoyim comes along to add on Shabbos. What do you need a pasuk to add on Shabbos for? Oh, you know you need a pasuk. Because not just the taking of the lulav, even the machshir of the lulav, even the auxiliaries, the preparations, the cutting down the lulav. Who holds that even that is deicha Shabbos? Now, why does the Gemara have to add on this line? Because our Mishnah didn't say that. Our Mishnah just said lulav. Our Mishnah just said taking the lulav. Where did our Mishnah also talk? Says the Gemara, we're going with Rabbi Eliezer. Not everyone agrees. Rabbi Eliezer is a unique chiddush that he says not only is the lulav deicha Shabbos, but the auxiliaries are deicha Shabbos. Why? He learns it out from a pasuk.
Shouldn't Shefer Megillah be?
Oh, now what's going on with Shefer Megillah is a very good question, and maybe at the end of the single we have to circle it around because there's something very funny going on here, and taste this really over here.
But also, how far do preparations go? Cutting it down.
Yes.
Okay.
So according to Rabbi Eliezer, everything.
Right.
So for sure, Shefer. For sure.
Right. So
yes.
More so than the carrying it to shul.
For sure.
Technically.
No.
Is that any
that's
worse?
That's
what I'm saying.
No.
How is that any worse?
So this is a really undercurrent detail that really our Gemara sort of brought down this gezerah of carrying. We fell off of it and almost like tricked us that like, okay, we're only in the world of lulav now because it's deraisa everywhere. Boy, what happened to Shefer? Okay, that's a good question. Taste this on the side of here deals with it, but not for now. Not for now.
According to Rabbi Eliezer,
yes.
Why would you even prepare a lulav before Sukkot? Just do it b'yom harishon.
I mean,
it says b'yom harishon.
I mean, if you ask this to a chassid, he'd smack you. To the mitzvah, you crazy? You're gonna wait to the last minute.
You want to be medayik in the pasuk.
No. Oh, so he doesn't mean dafka. No, so it doesn't mean dafka. You have to take it on b'yom, and he says it's a marba that you're allowed to do the machshir. Doesn't mean you have to. Doesn't mean you have to. But now, this is Rabbi Eliezer. So who argues on the Rabbi Eliezer? Well, everyone. The Rabbanan. So says the Gemara, according to those who argue on Rabbi Eliezer, what do? Says the Gemara, the Rabbanan. And according to the Rabbanan, Hi biyoim, my avdilei. What do the Rabbanan do with the word biyoim? We just said that biyoim comes along to teach us even Shabbos, and not only even Shabbos, but even what? The machshirin, even the auxiliaries, even the preparations. So how can you argue on that? It's a pasuk. V'Rabbanan hai b'yoymai of delay. So before we continue, the Gemara now, this is like what we would call a almost parenthetical statement. This is a sidebar, basically. Our sugya, we sort of wrapped up. But now, once we quote the sheet of Rabbi Eliezer, we quote his counterpart. And now the Gemara is going to go very deep into this machlokes Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim. So I'm just pointing it out because you could get lost over here. We wrapped up our sugya entirely, basically, but now we're looking at the counterpart. It's not from my house. You can insult it if it's not good, and you could compliment it if it is good. This is all the Heilige Svi Klein's food. Continues the Gemara. V'Rabbanan. Now, what did the Rabbanan say? Hi, Bayoim, my Avdile. What do they do with the pasuk of Bayoim? Says the Gemara, Mi Bayile, you know what they need it for? Bayoim v'loy b'layla. That makes sense, right? You only take the lulav by day. Oh, that sounds nice. So now this is what we call the proverbial game of Gemara ping pong, and the Gemara throws the ball back. Rabbi Eliezer, whoa, 1 second, Rabbi Eliezer. If you're using the word biyoim, Rabari, please come eat something. If you're using the word biyoim, then what do? How do you know you can't take the lulav at night? Rabbi Eliezer, biyoim beloy belayla minole. Where do they know that din from? Says the Gemara, nafkole, they learn it out from miseifa dikra, the end of the pasuk. What does the end of the pasuk say? V'samachtem lifnei Hashem elokeichem, and you shall rejoice in front of God shivas yamim for 7 days. Oh, 7 days? Could have said v'samachtem Hashem elokeichem l'shiva. Why shivas yamim? Yomim v'lo days and not night. Okay, so now what do? Throw the ball back. So now that's Rabbi Eliezer. V'Rabbanan, what do? So says the Rabbanan, Ime Hasam, if that was the Mekar, Hava Amina, I would have thought. Leilef Yomim Misukah.
I would have said the same thing. If you're taking that yom.
Good. Once you're coming from the word yomim.
Oh,
very good. That's what's going to go on over here. Learn that from Sukkah. Malahalan yomim ve'afilu leilois, days and even nights. Afkan here also yomim. Afkanami yomim ve'afilu leilois. Period. Now, the Gemara is not done. The Gemara is going to go deeper and deeper. So now what do you have to know? Well, how do you know Sukkah? And then you have to figure out why is it more equatable to Sukkah than the other ones. And the Gemara is going to mamish go back and forth and back all the way to Amud Beis. But I think...
How does Rabbi Eliezer not have a problem with what the Rabbanans just said?
Yeah. The Gemara is going to continue. The Gemara is not done yet.
Period.
That's what I'm sorry. What were you asking?
The Rabbanans...
we don't throw the ball back.
So
every Gemara ends that way. Correct. Every Gemara ends that way. There's always one. The Gemara never ties up all loose ends. It's a good question. The Gemara doesn't deal with it, or the Rishonim usually deal with it. We're going to stop here because Lamaisa, we're 4 days in, and we're basically finished. It's come out of blot if you do the math here. There's a lot going on here. So let's stop so we can start off the weekend strong to get to this point. And what we spoke about is we're going to try over the weekend at least the Chazer one time everything, which means the last little bit Amar Mar until here, that's for today, and then from the beginning of the parak till here, that we'll try to get to one time over the weekend. Halavai 2 times. I think at this point. 1 second, I'm supposed to let Avi know you're sitting here. He wants to trash you something about the Chazara, so I'm going to open the floor up. Avi, 1 second. I'll let him get there in a minute. I have to pay my dues. He asked for that. But before we get there, over Shabbos, let's try B'siyata D'Shmaya to get this whole shtickle down pat.
Once on Sunday, that's twice.
The real thing is, we should try to get it twice over the weekend, and once you do it once, the next time is usually easier. But okay, let's get there. But we're gonna stop here. We're gonna stop here because if we go over Viter, then it's gonna come one of those. We're gonna run to the end, and we're gonna try to stop and not do that. So let's stop here.